Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes, and welcome to the wonderful, wacky world of Angela Constance, the Justice Minister. Scotland has a problem with its prisons. They are, of course, massively overcrowded. They are packed into their cells like sardines in a tin. And there is a way to relieve this. Of course, you can build more prisons, and that was, of course, the plan. Unfortunately, because of all the massive micromanaging of everything really that the SNP like to employ, not a single brick has been laid. They can't build them because we need to do this, we need to do that, and we've finally agreed on the plans, but now we want to change them, and then we want to change them again. And that report came in the wrong coloured buff folder, please send it back and wait while it comes in the correct colour, and things like that. This is what they do, and this is why there's no prisons. So what's the solution? Well, they'll do again what they've done before. They're going to release prisoners. The difference is last time they released what you could call low-risk prisoners. It's people who were coming up to their parole point anyway. They were not a physical danger. They were, fraudsters, thieves, burglars, not anyone who's committed any kind of act of violence on a person. And they were released. Now, there is an argument for doing this. I quite agree. If they don't represent a physical risk to people, yeah, okay, let's release them. But here's the thing. Release them on an ankle tag so they can be monitored as to where they go. And they can be given, right, you must stay within this area here. You can go to that shop, but you must not leave your house after 8 o'clock at night. That sort of thing. You can put all sorts of restrictions on. And it effectively gives them home confinement, if you will. Fair enough. Okay, they don't represent a real physical threat to people, and they are still being incarcerated just in a better cell, their own home. But they've still got a limit on their freedom. That's fine. But that's not what Angela Constance did. What she did was just literally let them go. Not even early parole where they have to go and see a parole officer. No, just off you go. Off you pop. And that freed up some room, which was then immediately filled again because, crime never sleeps, does it? So to create more room, she's going to have the genius idea of releasing more prisoners. Worked before. Only this time, the people they're releasing are actually physically dangerous people. Potentially dangerous criminals let out onto the street. People who have committed assault, GBH, people who've stabbed people. Now, these are not the sort of nice people you want walking the streets. And again, is she going to release them on ankle monitors? No, they're given free rein to go where they will. And where will they go? Well, they'll go back to where they were. They will intimidate the witnesses against them. They will harm the witnesses against them. They will continue to intimidate their victims. Their victims could be walking along the road one day, and the person who did whatever they did to them could be walking towards them. You've got to imagine the shock. It's an assault on their rights and freedoms to live a peaceable life. Constance doesn't care. Of course not. Constance doesn't give a shit, because Constance lives in a huge, great big white ivory tower a long way away from where these people live. Constance will never face the consequences of her actions. She's protected, distant. She has that shield of wealth protecting her from the people she's releasing, which I find unfortunate. And so people will be harmed. People will suffer. The witnesses, the victims, and the new victims. Because these people are going into communities, they're just going to carry on as before, and they are going to harm other people. They won't have learned any lessons. They're violent criminals. And of course, Constance is doing this at the same time as the police force in Scotland is underfunded, under-resourced, and undermanned. Massively so. Massively in need of a lot more putting into it. And so the police won't be able to sit there and monitor what's going on. They're all too busy reaming through thousands of Facebook posts, aren't they? Checking YouTube, looking at Twitter, not doing any real police work. Meanwhile, people will continue to get hurt, physically hurt, emotionally damaged, traumatised. This is a really appallingly bad idea by a terrible minister from an awful government. And there's quite literally nothing the average Joe in the street can do about it. The SNP keep getting voted in to power, and this is exactly the sort of thing that they get. Now, all these SNP voters, just think about this. If your daughter or your son is raped or killed by someone who was released by Angela Constance, are you still going to vote for the SNP? Now, most people would say, well, no, of course not. But I've got a feeling that these morons would. Because let's face it, you've got to be a complete moron to keep voting for a party that's damaged Scotland in the way it has for 18, nearly 19 years. And yet you're still going to vote for them because this time it'll be better, it'll work, and nobody will get hurt. It's quite clear that Constance has lost the plot, that there aren't enough jails, and there's no reason why prisoners in Scotland can't be sent down into England. Have you got any spare room? Yes, well, take a few of ours, will you? You know, you can even offer to pay for it. Now, the Scottish executive say that releasing these prisoners is, quote, the last resort. It's not. It's not the last resort, it's just the worst resort. Put them on ankle monitors. Limit their movements. Limit the times they can move. Still imprison them, but in their own home. That's the way forward. But you know why they won't. They haven't got the money. It costs about £30 a day for an ankle monitor. But how much does it cost to keep a prisoner in a cell? I suspect it's more than £30 a day. And here's the great thing. You can offer them the chance to go on an ankle monitor, but tell them they have to pay £30 a day for it. They have to hire their own ankle monitor. I bet there's people out there that would. And hey, you can make money on it. It's a money driver, isn't it? Lock them up, put the ankle monitor on, charge them £30 a day for having it. Job's a good one. It will relieve the tax burden on the taxpayer. Might even raise a bit of money. Imagine that, Scotland's biggest income stream. Ankle monitors for its citizens. I shouldn't give them good ideas, should I? Let me know what you think. Thanks very much. Till next time, as always, goodbye.